The Dallas Cowboys fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 34-6, and we're here to talk about it right here on the replay live. Let's go. The Dallas Cowboys fall to the Philadelphia Eagles 34-6. And man, we're right here to talk about it live right here on the Replay Sports Show. Really, don't really have a whole lot to say about this particular game, but we got to talk about it, vent a little bit, man. I want y'all to come on with me. Don't forget to hit the subscribe, like, share, notification button. But let's talk about it. This was one of those games where the Dallas Cowboys started out once again like they was going to be making some big, loud noise, especially after getting your top defensive player back in Micah Parsons. This was a game that was definitely winnable, a game that looked like for a minute when Dallas was about to drive and take the lead, and then you had the fumble by Ezekiel Elliott. They could have went up 10-7, but that didn't happen. But they did get the ball back. I mean, due to Micah Parsons hit on Jalen Hurt, they fumbled the ball. We got the ball back, but we just couldn't punch the ball in and had to settle for another field goal. So let's go ahead and recap this game right quick. Talk about the stats because this was atrocious. I mean, I can't think right off the bat. I'm quite sure there's another game out there, somewhere that's on tape with the Dallas Cowboys or how they played offensively. But this was a game where I'm telling you, you could have sent Duncanville High School out there, and they could have put up more points than the Dallas Cowboys and what they did offensively. But in the first quarter of the game, of course, we had the touchdown run by Jalen Hurt. And then Dallas had to settle for a field goal when they got down there by Brandon Aubrey, kicked a 46-yard field goal. This was all in the first quarter. And then Dallas, of course, like I said, they got the turnover but couldn't punch the ball in, had to settle for another field goal. And this seemed like this has been a theme lately. It's been a theme. Every time we get a chance to drive to the red zone, we just can't get it in, can't punch the football in. So we had to settle for another field goal. And then, of course, Dallas Goedert, he catches a 23-yard pass for a touchdown that put them up 14-6. And this was a crazy thing. This was right before the halftime. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I think it went 85 yards like in 8 plays. And you all have heard me say, several times referencing our safeties, how atrocious the Dallas Cowboys safeties are. I mean, this guy, Donovan Wilson, although he was once a guy, I remember coming out of Texas A&M, I thought he was a big hitter. I thought he played, really well down in the box as a safety should. But for some odd reason, he got paid too. Jerry Jones paid him, and he's starting to moonwalk backwards. Yeah, I mean, he just can't seem to body up. He's too small, or whatever the case may be. He's undersized against some of the bigger tight ends in the NFL. And every time they close him out or get up on top of him, he winds up, for some odd reason, losing leverage, and they wind up catching the ball or scoring a touchdown. We got to take a look at the back end of our defense. I don't even think you guys even heard Malik Hooker's name even being called. Did y'all hear his name being called? I didn't hear number 28 name being called all day. And then we had a tip drill where Donovan Wilson could have actually intercepted the ball, but again, he misjudged the football. So these are not top safeties that went in the first or even the second round that's out there with the Dallas Cowboys. So that touchdown right before halftime really was the tail of the tape. And of course, even in that second quarter, Cooper Rush, and as I said before, here you have a guy who's been with the Dallas Cowboys. I know he left 1 year with the New York Giants, but came back with the Dallas Cowboys. He was undrafted in 2017 out of Central Michigan. And, he's played in spurts, and when those games that he started in spurts, he played really well in. Though the Cowboys had a better roster. They had assimilated a better roster. They put a better roster than they have now. There seemed like there was really no rhythm. I mean, he's either underthrowing the ball or he's not accurate with the football. I don't know what it is. And I don't understand, because you get the reps throughout the week. You get the reps, especially if you're down running scout team or whoever that may be, but you're getting the reps. So I don't understand how you come in and you're just that far off from throwing the football. This is just crazy to me. And I'm questioning, Mike McCarthy in terms of his play calling, his packages that he's putting in. And I won't put it all on Mike McCarthy, because as I'm looking at the game, I'm looking at the overall personnel, and I'm just saying I don't see it. Because once you take away CeeDee Lamb, what do you really have after that? That young kid that they was hoping to make that turn, Jalen Tolbert, he's not it, man. And you can tell on that last play, he never even looked back for the football. He's running down as if he's in punt coverage. He's not even looking back for the football. So they don't even have a second nor a third real receiver. You would have to have guys like Jalen Tolbert and Brooks. Those guys have to have other guys to take the pressure off of them to make them look better than what they really are. You don't have any Brandon Cooks out there. So where are you going to go to once you stop the run and then you take away your top threat at receiver, CeeDee Lamb? It becomes very, very frustrating. And I'm looking at these guys' disposition. I'm looking at the body language. The body language says it all. It says it all. Here was a game where I felt like was honestly and truthfully was really a winnable game. I don't think that the Philadelphia Eagles is a 28-point favorite team than the Dallas Cowboys. I just don't think they're 28 points better than the Dallas Cowboys. They capitalized on a lot of Dallas Cowboys mistakes. Of course, you had the 5 turnovers, and that never helps. You're killing drives, by holding calls, stall penalties here or there. It was just always something that continues to get in the Dallas Cowboys' way, and this was a very winnable game. They were coming in at 3-5, sitting in third place in the NFC East. Of course, the Washington Commanders, they lost today to the Pittsburgh Steelers 28-27. You have an opportunity to at least gain one game behind the Washington Commanders, whom you haven't even played yet. You got 2 more games against the Washington Commanders. But you came in lethargic. At least let me say come second quarter, you start playing like you was lethargic. Maybe you came in the game, a little riled up. But at some point, they once again mentally checked out. They mentally checked out. Dallas defense didn't really play that bad until the waning moments of this game in the second half, because, they gave up those points. They had field position. I didn't like the fact that after we come out of halftime, they gave up a 32-yard punt return to Cooper DeJean, and that set up another Philadelphia's touchdown. So that hurt us on special teams. And then you just start to just lose focus. They did a pretty good job. I mean, when you consider that the Philadelphia Eagles came into the game, they was ranked 8th overall in total offense. I think they averaged somewhere around 377 yards per game. They was 23rd in the pass, and I think they was about 2nd in rushing yards. And then you come up and stop a weapon like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley finished the game with 14 carries and 66 yards. That's not bad. That's really not bad when you're going up against a player like Saquon Barkley. So Dallas defense held him in check. He didn't get 100 yards. And Rico Dowdle, he finished with 12 carries for 53 yards. He ran hard on certain plays, but again, we just lacking a real run game. We're lacking a real run game. And then you go back to the passing game. How in the world do you have 40 yards in the second quarter? Cooper Rush finished the day. Listen to this. He finished the day 14 of 23 pass attempts with 43 yards. 43 yards. So you really didn't complete another pass throughout the entire game until they wind up putting Trey Lance in the game. And neither one of them, neither one of them did anything. And this is the reason why I'm calling him Cooper Hush and Trey Lance Trey Dance, as in dance around. Neither one of those guys, I don't think right now the way they play today should even be in the NFL. So they are no longer Cooper Rush. It's Cooper Hush and Trey Dance. I think the way they performed, man, was especially with Cooper Hush, because he got all of the reps really, and they just had that little slight package in there for for Trey Lance. But if y'all just joining me, this is the Replay Sports Show. And hit the subscribe, like, share button. I'm the real deal Jabril. I'm doing this host live right here, streaming on the airways of Facebook as well as YouTube. So we're just only here for a minute to recap in the Dallas Cowboys that they got plucked by the Philadelphia Eagles 34-6. And again, they had an opportunity to at least gain one game up on the well, not up on them, but at least close one game with the Washington Commanders because they lost today. And of course, we know that the Philadelphia Eagles are sitting at the very top with the New York Giants at the very bottom at 2-8. But I don't really know where the Dallas Cowboys go from here. I don't really know where the Dallas Cowboys go from here. I mean, there's a lot to be said, but they got to get better. They just can't. This is a job. I know people say, you know what? Why even show up? But it's just like when you go to work every day, right? This is their job. If you got a 9 to 5, this is what you do every day. And there's going to be some days you just don't feel like showing up for work. And it works that way in the NFL, as crazy as that may sound, because you're playing a game and you're making really good money at doing it. So why when you go and at least give 100% effort on it when you're only playing maybe 30 to 65 plays a game, depending on what position in certain players, because they always rotating in and out. So some players are not getting a full 65, 75 plays a game. So why not go out there and give it 100%? But again, Jalen Hurts, I think he finished with somewhere like 14. He was 14 to 26, 27 for 202 yards. Again, they're like 23rd in passing. So that's pretty much their numbers. I think they finished with a total offense they had today, 348. So they're averaging around about 377. So, and Dallas, with their very, very lethargic offense, finished with a total of 146 total yards. That's crazy. That's not going to get it done. With 5 turnovers versus the Philadelphia Eagles, 2 turnovers, just not going to get it done. They gave up 24 first downs. Get that, 24 first downs to the Dallas Cowboys 11. So that is a recipe. In time of possession, the Philadelphia Eagles controlled the ball 34 minutes to Dallas 25 minutes. It's just not going to get it done. It's just not enough. And the Dallas Cowboys have some soul searching to do. I'm going to go out on the record. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to say, I think that it's that big T word. I know people don't want to hear the big T word, but it may be time for tanking. I know it may sound a contradiction from what I just said in terms of guys still going out there doing their job. But at the same time, you can still play 100% and still have this thing, because I don't think the tank is going to come from really they just not good enough. And they're going to wind up losing anyway. And I'm quite sure based on the body language that I've seen, some of those guys they're going to start mentally checking out. And they're going to pull some guys, and some guys going to come up with certain injuries, to go ahead and start, vacation planning, and they're not going to even be in the game anyway. They're going to wind up putting a second or third player in there anyway as they start to evaluate for next season. I just don't see how you can turn this season around. If your defense was playing a whole lot better, I think right now they may be giving up probably approximately around about 31 points a game. Mike Zimmer's system, I don't know if the game has passed him by. You got to evaluate. When you're evaluating a team, you got to look at everything across the board. I think defensively, the game may have passed him by because to give up, and I understand, first-year defensive coordinator, but again, when you've played this game ever since you was in Pop Warner, all the way up to the high school level, to the collegiate level, it don't take, and you got a whole OTA offseason, and then you go to training camp. It don't take that long to get acclimated to an individual system, because some of the numbers, the principles are still the same. You may scheme it up differently, you may draw it up differently, but that's why they watch film all day. So how long does it take for you to recognize that this defensive coordinator is not Dan Quinn? Look what Dan Quinn is doing. If we make that excuse, then we got to go back to Dan Quinn, because look what he's doing over at the Washington Commanders as the head coach. So to sit here and try to say that, Mike Zimmer is the first-time defensive coordinator and they just not used to the defense and so forth and so on, then I can draw that comparison right there to Dan Quinn, who's having a remarkable season thus far, although they lost today to the Pittsburgh Steelers, but they're still having a remarkable season with a rookie quarterback starting, So I can't go with that. I just think maybe Mike Zimmer, if you want to question the personnel, then I have to go back to him bringing in the linebacker Kendricks. He brought Kendricks in number 50. And I seen this guy get crossed up several times where he just missed tackles. And so this was your guy, key guy that you brought in over from the Minnesota Vikings that was supposed to help solidify your defense. I don't think so. I think the young stud, Overshawn, is the best thing they got going right now, opposite Michael Parsons. I think he's the best player outside of Michael Parsons and perhaps DeMarco Lawrence when he's healthy that's on that defense right now. So Mike Zimmer, no, you didn't give us anything. And yes, our young corner is struggling over there. We don't have anybody lined up on the left side. You got the young corner Clark that's playing in position in front of Deron Bland. Yes, we would love to have Deron Bland back, especially on a day like this. But my thing is simply this. He got beat a couple of times on a double move. Why don't you help him out, roll the safety over there? And then on that deep ball, if y'all notice and go back and watch the highlights, if you can see the highlights when he got beat on the deep ball by A.J. Brown, here again, number 6. Let me put the dart on his back. Number 6, Donovan Wilson. He, as a safety, he did not get enough depth to even be in the route, to be even able to help out Clark on that pass play. I thought they was going to bench this guy after the San Francisco 49ers game, but obviously not. And that, what that really tells me? You really don't have anybody at the second string depth chart level to come in and replace that guy. You don't have anybody that you can go to come in, because the guy that I thought was he definitely played. I think if Dan Quinn were to pick him up and bring him over there with him, I thought this guy was having a heck of a preseason last year, and he did some great things. The young defensive back Wanye Thomas, whom they had inactive today. But again, Donovan Wilson, man, these guys get paid. They talk about Jerry Jones, when he's going to pay these guys and this, that, and another. And then he pay these guys, and these guys just underperform. Look at Ezekiel Elliott. I'm talking about old Zeke before he left and went to the New England Patriots. Once he got his money, he was not the same Ezekiel Elliott. He just wasn't. Jerry paid them guys based on what they did previously. And if Jerry Jones would have picked up the phone when I was trying to call him, not literally, but I'm just saying, I would have told him, man, hold your money on Dak Prescott. Just hold your money. I know many of y'all still supporting Dak Prescott, but as a former player, man, I'm sitting here telling you, when you've had 9 years body of work, and I understand that especially at the NFL level, football is the ultimate team sport, and it doesn't all just fall on Dak. I'm just simply saying there was a time when the Dallas Cowboys, even around the rest of the league, you had guys that was bagging up other guys who was able to create that competition behind these guys. When they drafted Troy Aikman back in 1989, Jimmy Johnson turned right around and drafted Steve Walsh in the supplemental draft. He never made Troy Aikman feel comfortable. Just like when we had Michael Irvin, who did we wind up drafting? Jimmy Smith out of Jackson State, who only went on. We were so deep back then, I guess they forgot what we really had. He just went on and had a Hall of Fame career playing with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But you can't be letting these guys feel comfortable, man. You pay these guys, and all of a sudden they just start eating their lobsters, and their stomach is no longer hungry. The desire has changed. It's just incredible to me. So I don't think this roster is going to look like the same roster come next year. Whether or not if he fire Mike McCarthy, it all depends. But I am officially on the record. I'm saying Dallas should just go ahead, man, and just tank the season. Tank the season and look forward to next year. And hopefully you land a top 5 pick, and you right there to get. I got 3 players that I think should come off the board that can immediately make an impact with the Dallas Cowboys. One is Shedeur Sanders. The second one would be Travis Hunter, and the other one would be Ashton Jennings out of Boise State, the running back. This kid is almost averaging, not almost, but actually averaging 190 yards a game. Those are telltale signs for the next level. I don't know if they'll be able to get into a top 5 position. Who knows? Because I know NFL players do have a lot of, pride on the line, and maybe they want to play spoiler or something like that, and they continue to play. And I don't know if they're going to, get Deron Bland back or DeMarcus Lawrence back, because at this point, they just seem to be discombobulated. So I don't know where they go from here. And I kept trying to find a silver lining in this particular game because, again, I truly don't feel like the Philadelphia Eagles was 28 points better than the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas sat there, man, mentally checked out and gave this game away through a bunch of mistakes and turnovers. And again, the offense could not, complement the defense. They did not complement the defense. And when you out there, man, those number plays where you're turning the ball back over, it becomes taxing and it becomes frustrating. And this is what I see with the Dallas Cowboys. So, again, I don't know where they're going to go from here, other than trying to play for a big draft pick in next year's 2025 draft. But again, offense was atrocious. I hope that Dak Prescott do go see a specialist, just because I just want to see players. I don't wish nothing any bad on Dak Prescott, but if he's gonna be your quarterback in the future, man, I think it starts now. But again, I'm not 100% sure if you fire Mike McCarthy, if that's going to even be the answer or not. Y'all can come out, chat in the box if you think that Mike McCarthy have a chance to come back next year, or do you think that we need to go ahead and try to make a pitch for Bill Belichick or some other coach that's out there? Right now, my guess would be Bill Belichick, but that's depending on what he wants and what Jerry wants to give up. That's going to be a long shot, and maybe Bill do say, based on what happened last year, him having a couple of interviews but not being hired, maybe he do kind of relegate some of the things that he may request as a head coach. But who knows? I just think that either two things got to happen. You got to go get the personnel that you need to continue to run the type of offense that Mike McCarthy wants to run, or you got to change the whole thing, just tear it down and rebuild it all over again. And I know, Cowboys Nation, you're saying, man, it's been so long. How can we just start from scratch and start over again? And I get it. I get it. Trust me, I do. But what can you do? What can you do in a situation like this when Mike McCarthy's system is not complementary to some of the players that he have? I know they got some young players. Tyler Guyton, the left tackle, drafted out of Oklahoma, didn't play today. He was inactive. So they put Hakeem Richards out there, whom they drafted, I think, 2 years ago. Zach Martin, I think his days are starting to wind down. Turnstile, there's another player that got paid, and you saw his performance today. I mean, he didn't have a lot of mistakes as far as holding or what have you, but you saw him get beat on the spin rush. And I know it happens, but at the same time, it's not dominant. It's not dominant like the time we had, right tackles like the Eric Williams. I mean, you knew when Big E was out there, man, it was gonna be some head cracking. So, I think this is a situation where when you're looking at it, man, going forward, I just think the Dallas Cowboys need to go ahead and tank the rest of the season, man, try to get in the best possible draft position they can. Re-sign some players, bring them back, and let a lot of them go. That's it. I mean, nothing else to say. But this is it's gonna be interesting because they take on the Houston Texans next week, and that's an in-state rival game, and the Houston Texans are not the old Houston Texans. And I know y'all don't have the Dallas Cowboys beating the Houston Texans. I just don't see it. But if you still believe in that age-old adage that says on any given Sunday, then hey, you can go with that. But me, I can't go with that. I think this is just a year of reflection, or it will be a year of reflection. I think it starts back when Jerry Jones didn't sign, Derrick Henry at the running back position, and he didn't make certain free agency moves. But no use in crying over spilt milk. There's still much football to be played by a lot of other teams that are out there. Again, acknowledging the Philadelphia Eagles, the Arizona Cardinals, man. They had a great game against the New York Jets. And can you imagine being a New York Jet fan? You bring over Aaron Rodgers, and you even pick up Devontae at the receiver position, Devontae Adams, and you lose the way you lose today. I mean, there's a lot of other teams to look at. But we're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Again, the Eagles plucked the Dallas Cowboys 34-6. It's on to the Houston Texans on next week. Of course, they're playing the Detroit Lions tonight, and if the Detroit Lions were to win that game, that's going to give them even more incentive to beat the Dallas Cowboys. So it's a long season. But it's a long season, but now it's a short season. Let me put it like that, because again, y'all have heard me say on numerous occasions that they always remember those who finish first in December, and December is right around the corner. So, can miracles happen? Yes. Will it happen when it comes to these Dallas Cowboys, this 2024 roster? No. And that's just what it is. So, again, where do the Dallas Cowboys go from here? Well, if you ask me, I would just say fishing, as they say in basketball, fishing. And we might as well get ready for those Dallas Mavericks, man, and hopefully we can cheer them on, because I think this season is a wash, unless some unforeseen miracle, which I do not see. I do not see. So, this has been another edition right here on the replay, where we're still trying to make your day again. Guys, please don't forget to hit that subscribe, like, and share button. And we're going to, come back again. We're going to try to at least finish out the season. I hate not to be able to come back, but we're going to try to finish out the season. So, but anyway, big shout out, man, to the players, man, who played hard, who leave it out there on the field. But to you guys, and you know who you are, please look in the mirror. This ain't gonna be pretty to watch toward the end of the year. So again, I want to thank y'all for jumping on with me to recap this loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, the Dallas Cowboys fall to the Eagles 34-6. And so we look forward to next week and see what it's going to be against the Houston Texans. Thank you for joining me. This has been the replay, and we'll see you soon.